A farmer in the outskirts of Pune is being tormented by a hare that has been destroying his crops. Frustrated and desperate, he chases after the animal with a gun clutched tightly in his hands and takes careful aim. A loud gunshot echoes and the screen cuts to black, leaving the fate of the hare uncertain. Meanwhile, in the bustling city of Pune, lives a talented blind pianist named Akash. Despite his disability, he lives alone, managing to cook, clean, and survive with remarkable independence. Yet, he is constantly pestered by a curious neighborhood kid who is convinced that Akash is pretending to be blind. The kid tries several tricks to expose him, but each time, Akash flawlessly maintains his act, leaving the boy increasingly frustrated and suspicious. One morning, after yet another round of the kid's antics, Akash leaves for a music shop in the city. There, he talks to the owner about his ambitious plans to move to London in a month to perform as a pianist in a famous pub. The shopkeeper praises him for not letting blindness hold him back. Meanwhile, in another part of Pune, lives a former Bollywood actor named Pramod Sinha with his young and attractive wife, Simi. Despite being frequently judged for their large age difference, the couple seems content. Prem's daughter from his first marriage, Dani, visits occasionally, keeping a cordial relationship with her father and his new wife. One sunny afternoon, Akash tries crossing a busy street when a scooter suddenly hits him. The driver, a young woman named Sophie, is horrified and immediately helps him up, apologizing profusely. Feeling guilty, she insists on taking him to lunch. During their conversation, she learns about his music and is fascinated by his charm and talent. On discovering he is a pianist, Sophie invites him to perform at her father's restaurant, convinced he would be perfect for its atmosphere. Later that day, after returning home, Akash removes his dark glasses and the fogged-up contact lenses covering his eyes, revealing the shocking truth. He is not blind at all. His blindness is an elaborate act, one he maintains because he believes it helps him perceive music in a deeper, more creative way. For years, he has lived this lie, fooling everyone around him. The next day, Akash performs at Sophie's restaurant, mesmerizing the crowd with his soulful music. Everyone is amazed that a blind man can play so beautifully. Coincidentally, among the guests is Pramod Sinha, who is deeply impressed by Akash's performance. His wedding anniversary with Simi is approaching, and he decides to surprise her with a private concert at home. To keep it a secret, he lies to Simi, saying he'll be out of town for business. Though slightly annoyed, she agrees, unaware of the surprise her husband is planning. One rainy evening, Sophie gets drenched and ends up staying at Akash's house until the storm passes. When she changes into his clothes, he respectfully pretends not to see, maintaining his blind facade perfectly. The two, having developed feelings for each other, eventually give in to their attraction and spend the night together, growing closer than ever. On the day of Premad's anniversary, Akash arrives at his luxurious apartment, ready to perform. Simi opens the door, irritated, insisting her husband isn't home. Akash tries to explain that he was invited, but she attempts to shut the door on him. When their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Disa, notices the commotion, Simi reluctantly lets Akash inside to avoid suspicion. As he begins to play the piano, everything seems fine until Akash suddenly notices something behind the couch. Premad's lifeless body lying on the floor. He freezes in shock, but keeps playing, pretending to be unaware. Later, Akash goes to the bathroom, only to catch a horrifying glimpse of the corpse's reflection in the mirror. Inside the bathroom, he discovers another man hiding the same Inspector Manohar. Maintaining his composure, Akash pretends not to notice, quietly using the toilet before returning to the piano. A flashback reveals that Simi and Manohar were caught red-handed by Pramod during an affair. In a panic, they shot him dead. Now, as Akash unknowingly plays, the pair clean up the crime scene, shift Premad's body into a suitcase, and try to cover up their tracks. Before leaving, Simi fakes a phone conversation, pretending her husband is out of town. Akash politely bids goodbye and exits, pretending as though nothing is wrong, though his heart pounds with fear. Outside, he sits on a bench, shaken and unsure what to do. A kind lottery ticket seller named Saku offers to call him a rickshaw. Murli, a friendly driver who knows Akash, takes him straight to the police station. Determined to report the murder, Akash begins explaining everything to the officer until Inspector Manohar himself walks in. Terrified, Akash quickly changes his story, pretending he came to complain about his missing cat instead. Manohar, suspicious but uncertain, insists on accompanying him home to verify the story. To test whether Akash is truly blind, he suddenly throws a knife at him, but Akash doesn't flinch, perfectly maintaining his act. Satisfied, the inspector leaves. Later, at the restaurant, Akash acts normal, though he's terrified. Simi arrives there too, pretending everything is fine and claiming her husband is away on work. The next morning, the news shocks everyone. Pramod Sinha has been found dead inside his car, supposedly the victim of a robbery gone wrong. Manohar takes charge of the case to cover up the murder. Akash, along with Simi and Dani, is called to the police station for questioning. Dani grieves for her father, unaware of Simi's guilt. Akash, scared for his life, stays silent. At the funeral, Mrs. Disa approaches a policeman, insisting something about the official story is off. She remembers seeing Akash at the apartment that day. Simi, fearing exposure, later pushes the old woman off her balcony, killing her instantly. Unfortunately, Akash witnesses this murder too, and once again has to pretend he saw nothing. Horrified, he calls Sophie, planning to tell her everything, not realizing the nosy kid next door is secretly recording him. Before Sophie can arrive, Simi visits his apartment, bringing sweets from Premad's funeral. Akash, uneasy, lets her in. As he turns to make coffee, she dons a ghost mask to scare him, him, but he remains motionless, keeping up his facade. Then, she suddenly pulls out a gun. Cornered, Akash finally confesses that he saw everything, but promises to leave for London and stay silent. Moments later, he collapses. Simi had drugged the sweet she gave him. When Sophie arrives, the kid shows her the video proving Akash can see. Furious, she storms to his apartment, only to find Simi half naked, pretending she and Akash slept together. Heartbroken, Sophie leaves him for good. Hours later, Akash wakes up in agony, realizing he truly can't see Simi has blinded him with acid. He tries calling Sophie, but she blocks him. Meanwhile, tensions rise between Simi and Manohar. He's angry she didn't kill Akash. She retorts that she's not a murderer like him, prompting him to finish the job himself. That night, Manohar breaks into Akash's home to strangle him. A fierce struggle ensues, and Akash narrowly escapes, stumbling blindly through the streets until he collapses. The next morning, Akash wakes up in a hospital, tended by Dr. Swami, Murli, and Sakhu. They found him unconscious and brought him in. Desperate to regain his sight, Akash begs for an eye specialist, but as hours pass, he overhears a horrifying conversation. The trio plan to sell his organs for money. Since he's blind and alone, he's the perfect victim. They sedate him, preparing for surgery, but before losing consciousness, Akash mentions Sakhu's Shiva tattoo. Shocked that he could know this, they take it as a divine sign and abandon the plan. When Akash wakes, they confess what nearly happened. Cleverly, he tells them about Simi and Manohar's crime, suggesting they can make real money by blackmailing the killers. Greedy, they agree. Soon after, Simi sees Akash playing piano with Donnie visiting and panics. She calls Manohar to meet immediately, offering Akash a ride home. She instead drives him to a secluded place to hand him over. On the way, Akash demands 10 lakhs to keep quiet and pay for a cornea transplant. She refuses, but before she can react, Murli's rickshaw blocks the road. Akash sedates her with a syringe, and the group kidnaps her, planning to ransom her to Manohar. Akash then calls Manohar's wife, Rasika, revealing his affair and crimes, demanding 1 million rupees to keep silent. Furious, Rasika threatens to kill her husband, but calms down after learning Simi's car was found near a bridge, suggesting she has committed suicide. Meanwhile, Simi wakes up tied to a chair and refuses to cooperate. To terrify her, Dr. Swami draws her blood, threatening to sell her kidney. Later, Manohar arrives with a briefcase full of ransom money. But as the plan unfolds, Sakhu and Murli betray Akash, tying him up to keep all the money for themselves. Ironically, Simi ends up tied in the same room with him. She mocks his helplessness, but Akash coldly tells her she should be more afraid Manohar would kill her to erase all evidence. At that moment, Dr. Swami examines Simi's blood report and realizes she has a rare BRH negative type, highly valuable for transplant. Excited, he decides to sell her liver for a fortune. Meanwhile, at the exchange point, Murli tries to run off with the money, but gets shot by Manohar. Sakhu traps the inspector in an elevator and flees with the briefcase. Distraught, she brings the dying Murli to the hospital, where he passes away. Back at the hideout, Simi frees herself and attacks Akash, but Dr. Swami intervenes, knocking her unconscious. He loads her into his car and drives toward Mumbai with Akash. During the drive, he explains that selling Simi's liver to a rich client's daughter could earn them 50 million rupees. Akash could use his share for a cornea transplant and start anew. But Akash is conflicted. Saving himself would mean killing her. The story then jumps to years ahead. Sophie, now in Europe, spots a poster of Akash performing at a London pub. Shocked, she visits him after his show. He recounts what happened. During the drive, Simi regained consciousness, killed Dr. Swami, and tried to run Akash over. But a gunshot rang out, the same one from the beginning, and the hair from the first scene jumped onto her windshield, causing her to crash and die. Akash, blind and shaken, took a bus to Mumbai and later made his way to London, where he now performs. As Sophie says goodbye, Akash walks away, tapping his cane against the road and striking an empty can. The can rolls forward, leaving us to wonder, can he really still not see, or has he been pretending once again? Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.